Now if you're the beginner, there's some things you're going to need to get started. First of all, you're going to need some good camouflage. What you want to do is pick a camo that's good for where you're hunting. If you're hunting in the winter, you're going to want a snow camo, such as the camo up here on the wall behind me, with a good pattern that seems to break it up. If you're hunting in clover or hay fields where there's a lot of green and stuff, you're going to want something that's going to blend in there. So wherever you're hunting, you got to remember that your camo should match the terrain you're hunting in. Another thing you're going to need, very important when you're calling, is an actual call. Now you can pick up pretty well calls anywhere. You can get diaphragm mouth calls, you can get tube calls, you can get electronic calls. It doesn't matter, they all work. It's not just the call or anything else. The best thing you need to do is to find out what call is going to work best for you. If you're out calling and it's 20 below zero, you know, and sometimes you'll get a call where you've called for a bit and then you'll stop for a bit and you'll be waiting and you go to call again and it'll be froze up and you won't be able to use it. So what you need to do is find a call that's going to work in your weather conditions. Another thing you're going to want to find yourself a good gun, an appropriate gun, which means you might have to check regulations where you're hunting and see if there's any restrictions on the type of firearm you can use there. Most people I know, including myself, use a center fire. We usually use a 22 caliber center fire anywhere up to your deer rifle. Depends on what kind of practice you want to get in. Shotguns work well too. They're for a lot closer range, so you may want to choose a good rifle. The rim fires are a little light, but hey, if you get them close enough, you can pretty well kill them with anything. So another thing you're going to want to need, and probably this is most important out of all the things, is a lot of patience. Now when you first start calling, things aren't that easy. Some days you'll get out and you'll see coyotes, you'll see fox, they'll just come from everywhere. And then there's going to be some days you're going to go out and you go into an area and you think, well, I know they're in there. I heard them in there last night. I could hear them. And you slip in there and you start calling and you call and you call and you call and you don't see a thing. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing anything wrong. The only thing you might not be doing right is finding them, because they seem to move around a lot. So don't get discouraged and keep trying. Just remember to have patience, not only just when you're calling, but in patience when you're finding them. There. Oh yeah. Now the best times to call for fox and coyote, I always start with the time of year, because there's nothing more that I'd hate to do is sit out in the black flies and get eaten alive while you're trying to call a coyote in. When we hunt coyotes down here, we hunt them when their pelts are prime and when they're of some use. So we usually shoot them or start hunting them usually after the deer hunt or late fall and right through the winter till the end of February. That's usually when the pelts are prime and when they're going to be best. If you don't use them for yourself, hey, give them to a trapper. Don't just let them go to waste. Now the best time of day I always find, now this is myself speaking, I find the best time of day is first thing, sun's just starting to creep up over the trees. Just that first bit of light, just light enough to see, right in your legal shooting time. That always seems the best time to hunt coyotes. Now you can call them any time of day. I'm not saying that, you know, I haven't had any come in right smack dab in the middle of the afternoon. They come in then too. Dusk is a usually good time too, but around here the best time seems to be first thing bright and early in the morning when things are so quiet from all night. And that's usually the best time to find them too.